tonight. All right.
See you 6.
On World News tonight, this April day, the U.S. controls Baghdad. The war goes on, but what a day. Saddam Hussein may be dead or on the run, but in this city square, he is finished.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening, everyone. It's been an extraordinary day in Baghdad. The last elements of Saddam Hussein's government appear to be gone from the Iraqi capital, where Americans are the only visible force. This ancient Arab capital, which has been ruled by so many outside powers, is now completely surrounded and largely controlled by Americans. And the man who ruled here so brutally and absolutely for almost 25 years has vanished. The city was chaotic today. American tanks in the city squares, American Marines and soldiers greeted as liberators by many. Others fear the U.S. will stay. There were crowds which wanted to share in the triumph, many who couldn't quite believe the day had come, and others afraid that chaos and revenge will be next. Millions of us watched it on television today. ABC's Richard Engel had a front seat at the Palestine Hotel on the eastern side of the Tigris River. Richard?
Peter, the government in Baghdad has disappeared. The ever-present officials, including the information minister, are now nowhere to be found. In the last 24 hours, the tables have turned, and those who ruled this country through fear are now themselves on the run. It was truly a historic moment, imbued with symbolism. The edifice of the man responsible for 2 decades of tyranny pulled down in the center of Baghdad. Iraqis tried to topple the statue themselves, but U.S. Marines quickly lent them a hand. First, the Marines hoisted a U.S. flag. Not a good idea when trying to convince people you're not an occupier. Then, Iraqis draped their flag around the statue's neck. There was joy and anger today. For the Iraqi people and journalists in Baghdad, seeing the U.S. tanks roll up to the Palestine Hotel was a tremendous relief.
The closer we got, the more they knew Saddam was finished, and they were glad to show it.
Shiite Muslims in the poor neighborhood known as Saddam City shouted that Saddam is the enemy of God.
Saddam Hussein and his gang, and his regime, and his relatives, because we have many times had suffered from them. Down Saddam!
But there was an ugly side to the breakdown of order today: looting.
No Saddam, yes boss, no Saddam.
People carting away anything and everything they could get their hands on, mostly from government buildings. And many Iraqis are skeptical about the U.S.'s intentions.
They came here to Iraq to help Iraqi people, but they are big liars.
There was some fighting in western Baghdad today. The U.S. Marines I spoke to acknowledge there are still many dangers here.
I'm sure there'll be minor pockets of resistance like that, ambushes, guerrilla-type tactics. It's just a matter of finding those guys and ferreting them out.
Do you feel safer now that we're here? I certainly do. Many Iraqis in Baghdad also now feel safer, and the Marines say they will help keep it that way.
I'm looking forward to go home, but I'm also just looking forward to helping this country get back on its feet.
For the Iraqis, today was nothing less than a revolution, a dream of freedom come true. Many challenges still lie ahead. This is a country with deep ethnic and religious divides. But if the United States can navigate through these difficulties and build a better future for the Iraqi people, it could do wonders for the United States' image and interests throughout the Middle East. Peter?
Thank you, Richard, and thank you for a long day of reporting. Richard Engel in Baghdad. So much of our attention today was on Baghdad. There is a lot of fighting, certainly continuing elsewhere. But take a look at the map tonight. This is one of the maps that U.S. Central Command is looking at. It shows the various spheres of influence in the city. It doesn't necessarily mean the U.S. has absolute control, but it certainly does mean that these are the very large portions of the capital city which indicate calm, not chaos. But there is calm and there is chaos, and ABC's John McCarthy has the war story of the whole day from his position at the Pentagon. John?
Peter, this fighting may not be over for days, weeks, or even months, but what clearly is over as of today is Saddam Hussein's government. It was still nasty today on the outskirts of northwestern Baghdad. Remnants of the collapsing Iraqi military, now apparently fighting on their own, had no intention of giving up. On the eastern side of the city, Marines began a final push. After days of heavy fighting, they were stunned by what greeted them as they moved into the poor Shiite neighborhood called Saddam City. ABC's Mike Saray was with those Marines.
We were greeted by smiling and waving civilians. Local Iraqis seemed as excited by the fact that the potential battle had finally passed them by as much as they were by seeing Americans.
Other Marines pushed toward downtown, finally reaching the east bank of the Tigris River, and yet another stunning reception.
Thank you so much to Mr. President George Bush.
Across the river, U.S. Army troops occupied most government buildings, including Saddam Hussein's secret police headquarters.
This is a good day for the Iraqi people.
But Defense Secretary Rumsfeld warned the war in Iraq is far from over.
There's a lot more fighting that's going to be done. More people are going to be killed. Let there be no doubt. This is not over, despite all the celebrations on the street.
Sources say American commanders went to bed last night believing that regime control of Baghdad was slipping away. When the sun came up, it was gone. How did it happen so fast? Airstrikes had pounded regime centers of power. Once U.S. ground troops arrived, the Iraqis were repeatedly taken by surprise. First, when the U.S. grabbed the airport, then when it drove 60 tanks through part of downtown Baghdad called a Thunder Run. Thousands of Iraqi defenders were slaughtered.
A good maneuver commander strikes not only at the enemy forces, but the mind of the enemy commander and leaders.
That was clearly the goal when U.S. troops captured Saddam Hussein's palaces in the heart of downtown and with relative ease held them. By then, the regime was collapsing. So now the challenge, of course, is to stabilize Baghdad, a city that is teetering on chaos. For American troops, they must now switch gears. After being awarded medals for shooting Iraqis, they must now become peacekeepers, Peter, and learn to do just the opposite.
Very tough operation. Thanks, John. John McCarthy at the Pentagon. As we said earlier, there's a great deal of fighting in parts of Baghdad today, mostly in the west. ABC's Ted Koppel has been in and out of the city with, as always, the Army's 3rd Infantry Division.
On the west side of the Tigris River, where most of the government ministries are located, it looked very much like an active war zone today. If the mood is different in this part of town, it's because the fighting has been fierce, up to and including this morning.
The second one hit me right here, and lucky my platoon, they was right here for me, and we took them out. We got them. Thank God.
This tank is still usable, right?
Roger. Oh, yes. She's still, we got a few leaks here and there, but she's going to make it. She's going to make it.
This is Victory Square. At either end, there are gigantic arches, crossed swords, from the base of which hundreds upon hundreds of helmets tumble toward the ground. They are the helmets of Iranian soldiers who died in battle against Iraq. Today, though, it was an American commander who stood in the reviewing stand where Saddam Hussein once stood.
Quite a historical day, I think, here in downtown Baghdad. The 3rd Infantry Division, U.S. Army, and our coalition forces to be here.
Major General Buford Blunt is a quiet, undemonstrative man. But tonight, he and his troops control Baghdad. Peter?
Thank you, Ted. Ted Koppel with the 3rd Infantry, and General Blunt, he's stuck to his side throughout this whole campaign. Someday to be there. At the Pentagon today, the Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld said the U.S. still needs to account for Saddam Hussein. The U.S. does not know if he's dead or alive, and if he's alive, where he is hiding, and what, if anything, he may be plotting or in a position to plot. But the person who's followed this throughout the day for us is ABC's Martha Raddatz. Martha.
Peter, this seems to be the question on everyone's mind. Is he dead or alive? But it's not a question anyone seems to be able to answer with any certainty.
As symbol after symbol of Saddam Hussein's rule was destroyed today,
Rumor after rumor circulated about his fate. Lebanese TV reported that he was hiding in the Russian embassy in Baghdad. Some officials speculated he had fled to his hometown of Tikrit. Others said he was dead, buried in the rubble of Monday's bombing. ABC News consultant Richard Clark, who has sources in the administration, was told that the Iraqi president dodged the U.S. bombs because he was dining next door.
He was dragged out of the restaurant by his bodyguards, thrown into a car, and as the car was escaping from the neighborhood, it was attacked. The United States doesn't know where he is or if he survived.
Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld said he doesn't know either, but dropped some tantalizing suggestions.
Senior regime people are moving out of Iraq into Syria, and Syria is continuing to send things into Iraq.
An intelligence official ranked most of the information coming in about Saddam Hussein right up there with Elvis sightings, saying that much of it just isn't credible. There are still CIA teams and special forces looking for Saddam Hussein, Peter, or solid evidence that he has died.
Many thanks, Martha. So many stories today. Martha Raddatz in Washington. In northern Iraq today, the U.S. military has not accomplished all of its goals as yet, but a much smaller U.S. force than the one in the south is still fighting pockets of fairly strong Iraqi resistance. ABC's Jim Sciutto is still with the special forces near the northern city of Kirkuk.
The news from Baghdad spread quickly to the north. In Erbil, hundreds of Kurds chanted, "Down with Saddam," and raised a hand-painted American flag. But they're still fighting here, and today it only grew more intense. U.S. and Kurdish troops captured a key town outside Mosul and moved to within a mile of Kirkuk under heavy Iraqi artillery fire.
I think their back's up against a wall right now, and it's going to take a little bit, to break that and get them the heck out of there.
The battle here is very different from the rest of the country. Instead of tanks and thousands of ground troops, there are just a few hundred U.S. Special Forces and Army paratroopers calling in airstrikes and backed by thousands of Kurdish fighters. The Kurds are essential to the U.S. war plan here, but they have their own interests, including Kirkuk's oil. This town was under Iraqi control only a few days ago. Within hours of U.S. Special Forces taking over, troops from the two largest Kurdish factions moved in right behind them. Now the U.S. military is hoping Baghdad's fall will encourage more Iraqi troops here to surrender. Jim Sciutto, ABC News, with U.S. Special Forces outside Kirkuk.
And now let's go to the southern city of Basra today. British soldiers saved a man being beaten by a crowd for stealing. The U.S. had hoped that the fall of Basra would be an early example of Iraqi support for the invasion. Instead, as you recall, there was strong resistance and there was anarchy and looting. Now British commanders say they intend to install a local religious Shiite Muslim leader as the leader of the province while they restore water and power supplies. And in the days ahead, we'll see what his attitude is. Millions of people in the Arab and the Muslim world watched what was going on in Baghdad today. Here are a few of the comments. On Al Arabiya television, the U.S. has won its public relations campaign today. It is a sad image for Arabs, but it is the reality. On the Al Jazeera network, a somber prediction. What is happening will not be limited to Iraq. The politics of the entire region will now change. Here are the American casualty figures as of today, at least the ones we know. 99 U.S. servicemen and women have been killed so far. 15 are listed as prisoners of war or missing, and you heard the Pentagon say today people should take care of the prisoners. 30 British soldiers or Royal Marines have died, and thousands of Iraqis have died, soldiers and civilians, and we simply do not have the overall numbers as yet. When we come back, Baghdad has fallen. Now the more complicated task. We'll take a closer look at what's next. In parts of Baghdad tonight, anarchy is the new law. Question is, how far will it go? And at the end of the broadcast, tearing down the regime, portrait by statue.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings, brought to you by Nexium.
When you have acid reflux disease, heartburn boils up again and again.
But bad as the heartburn can be, the real threat is what lies beneath. Over time, that burning acid could wear away the lining of your esophagus, and even if your heartburn symptoms aren't severe, the damage can be.
I didn't know.
Your doctor knows about a purple pill called Nexium. Nexium goes to the source of the problem, actually reducing the amount of acid your body creates.
For many people, one prescription Nexium a day provides complete 24-hour
Day and night heartburn relief.
And importantly, Nexium is proven to heal acid reflux erosions in the esophagus. Other serious stomach conditions may still exist. The most common side effects of Nexium are headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. Talk to your doctor and call this number for more information and a free trial offer for Nexium.
Relieve the heartburn, heal the damage. It's possible with the purple pill called Nexium.
How do you invest to help secure your retirement? You start with your dreams. And Edward Jones.
My life, my world, it all begins with a dream.
Edward Jones.
I'm up, but this arthritis.
The moment of choice. Tylenol or Advil for arthritis pain?
Advil's my choice.
Advil liquid gels rush long-lasting relief where you need it. Gentle on your stomach, too. For fast relief, advance to Advil.
No fruits, no flowers, no colors, no scales. Just the pure moisture of Lubriderm. Only the ingredients you need to keep dry skin at a distance. Lubriderm, a pure approach to healthier skin.
You see a grueling commute. We saw a reason to invest in tax-free bonds for mass transit, saving time for commuters and helping our shareholders keep more of what they earn. Franklin Templeton Investments. Gain from our perspective.
Arab-American reaction here in Dearborn, Michigan today, where there's a very large number of Iraqi Americans. There was a big celebration when the statue came down. It was a source of enormous excitement, mostly American flags, one or two Iraqi flags, Iraqis expressing their enthusiasm for what is apparently happening to Saddam Hussein's regime, which many of them, of course, have fled. Now, today's events represent an unmistakable victory for the Bush administration, regardless of how much remains to be done in Iraq. When that statue of Saddam Hussein was pulled down, President Bush was at a meeting in the Oval Office with the Slovakian president. Coalition of the willing, of course, and the White House said later that Mr. Bush watched it soon afterwards on television. ABC's Terry Moran is with us at the White House tonight. I assume, Terry, they enjoyed what they saw.
They sure did, Peter. There was not, however, exhilaration here, really, and not even that much gloating. There was, however, a profound sense of vindication. One aide saying, "This proves the president was right about Iraq and about the use of American power in the world." However, they are also trying to press a note of caution on the American people. They think this could still be ugly and there could still be some casualties.
Let me ask you how much anxiety there is there about trouble ahead.
There is some anxiety about trouble on the battlefield ahead, more anxiety about how to stand up a free post-Saddam Iraq. Although one administration official said, "We have always been preparing for the possibility of catastrophic success." They have some teams ready to go in right away.
Thanks, Terry. Terry Moran at the White House this evening. When we come back, the ruler is gone, and so are the rules. The chaos in Baghdad.
See it build. See it transform. If you have an idea, a plan, a dream, see it with CIT.
Some mornings I was so constipated I could hardly make my deliveries. I felt bloated, all knotted up. This one little pill changed my mornings.
Good morning, Mrs. Renner.
New X-Lax Ultra. This little pill with X-Lax guaranteed relief by 8 a.m. X-Lax Ultra. Now my mornings are ultra good.
Good morning. And here's a package for you, Jill.
New X-Lax Ultra for ultra good mornings.
In the future, everyone's glasses will automatically adjust to changing light and block out harmful UV rays that can damage the eyes. But for those with transitions lenses, the future is already here. Ask your eye care professional, because the danger is real now, and so is the protection. Transitions.
perfect accessory for your right foot. Cadillac CTS. Breakthrough.
Why can't we have Easter outfits like that?
Want great Easter outfits for the kids? Take them to Burlington Coat Factory. You can get famous label and designer dress clothes for kids, as well as the whole family. And save 20 to 60% off department store prices.
Looking good!
So now you can afford to be the envy of everyone this Easter. Burlington Coat Factory. It's more than great coats.
Men over 40 are waking up to a surprising fact. They may already be at risk of a heart attack. Doctors recommend Bayer low-dose aspirin as part of a routine to help prevent a heart attack. Be sure to talk to your doctor before you begin an aspirin regimen. Trust your heart to Bayer.
Tomorrow, after an historic day for the Iraqi people, what battles lie ahead before the war with Iraq can finally be declared over? Tomorrow on World News Tonight.
Saddam Hussein was law and he was order in Iraq. Now that his regime has collapsed, the power vacuum puts American forces in something of a challenging position, to say the least. One of the Marines we spoke to earlier today said he prefers to be in full attack mode rather than hunkered down, trying to control a local population and ward off small pockets of resistance. ABC's Ned Potter tonight on the difficulty of restoring order.
The looters in Baghdad today looked giddy. Some of them dancing as they took furniture and artwork from government buildings.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Boyd.
But of course, chaos reigns right now because the one source of order in Iraq was the very government the coalition forces have now knocked out. Even before the shooting stops, the job of policing will fall to the American troops.
We are, by definition, an occupying power.
General William Nash stayed in Iraq for 2 months after the end of Desert Storm.
We therefore have responsibilities towards establishing public security and safety within the areas we control.
If only it were that simple. In Basra this week, America's British allies made a point of not acting as police. And they have good reason. They still have a war to fight. But with the old order gone, there could be all sorts of troubles. Ethnic violence between the different factions that divide Iraq, released prisoners settling scores with their former jailers. American combat troops will have a tough job becoming peacekeepers.
They can, of course, be trained for those duties, but as far as we know, these combat forces were not trained specifically in the stabilization role.
What you want the world to see is not the widespread looting and the state of anarchy, but rather the state of stability that American officials insist that the purpose is liberation.
Military officers who have been there say today was understandably chaotic. It just cannot stay that way.
And we need to stand back a little bit and allow the dancing in the street to take place. But it has to be short-lived.
Very short-lived. The U.S. must now bring order to the country it is conquering. Ned Potter, ABC News, New York.
There it is, the challenge next on the broadcast, and finally this evening, stomping on the leader. It took courage to get it started.
I love everything about fresh squeezed orange juice, except the squeezing part. So I pour myself some Tropicana Pure Premium instead. Tropicana gets its fresh squeezed taste from one thing: oranges. It's never from concentrate. It's nothing but juice. So I get the great taste I love without getting orange peel under my fingernails.
So pure, so alive, Tropicana.
There are some who live for caring with all they have to give. There are some who will always be there. They dare to care, they dare to cry, they dare to feel, they dare to try. There are some who have the courage to care. There are some
Be a nurse.
who dare to care.
A message of caring from Johnson & Johnson.
If you're heading out there, I'll give you a tip. It's wild and it's far, and you're in for a trip. For just when you think it couldn't get rougher, the path goes crooked. and the going gets tougher. But once you've traveled this far off the track, you won't settle for less. And there's no going back. The powerful Chevy Tahoe, like a rock.
Hello? It's Dr. Ross. I have your colon polyp test results. You're fine.
Help stay that way with new Caltrate Colon Health. You may help reduce the risk of recurrent colon polyps, a colon cancer risk factor. Don't wait. Take new Caltrate Colon Health.
Introducing a new overnight laxative, Freelax. These have stimulants that can jolt your system and cause cramps. Freelax is different. It's stimulant-free and cramp-free. It's new, different, it's Freelax.
It works overnight and no cramps. Freelax.
My lawn is really by pride and joy. I know it's weed-free, I know it's dandelion-free, I know that for a fact because I hate dandelions. But every time I'm out here working on it, my neighbor Lana says, how do you get rid of your dandelions? I do it by using Scott's Turf Builder Plus 2. The light granule sticks to that wet leaf much easier than a heavy granule, which would fall off. If it doesn't stick, it just doesn't work. Apply it, sticks to the leaf, Zappo. No more dandelions. Actually, to tell you the truth, she's trying to keep up with me. Uh-oh, I think she heard me. I think it's the greatest product ever made.
15 women, 3 incredible dream dates.
I wish I could read a book about how to date 5 girls at once.
Emotions run high.
I think I was putting my heart out there and I don't think he was.
And the backstabbing begins.
Now, she's a great girl, but that doesn't mean that she's a great girl for you.
An all-new The Bachelor. Tonight at 9/8 Central, only on ABC.
This morning, history was made as U.S. troops rolled into Baghdad, and Good Morning America was there. Tomorrow, for the day's first word, again, count on Good Morning America.
Finally this evening, as we have been reminded many times, this war is not over. But the end is now more clearly in sight than it has been before. The process of cleansing Iraq of Saddam Hussein's influence has begun ever so tentatively. The first person to trash a picture of the leader was brave to do so, and it will take a long time. People have been conditioned for almost 3 decades to fear retribution from the state. God forbid they should ever have done anything like this. This was a little easier. The money has been increasingly worth less and less. Glorifying the leader was an industry in Iraq. Artists have painted and carved Hussein in every incarnation, from huge portraits to small busts, which this sergeant found in a presidential compound. In time, like those icons of the former Soviet Empire, some of these that stay intact will have an odd artistic value. For now, it is time to burn and stomp and drag the leader at will. On one of the many pedestals in Baghdad, all he has left are his pants. That is our report on World News Tonight. We'll have more on the war throughout the evening, including an ABC News special this evening. I hope you'll join us then. I'm Peter Jennings. Until then, good night.
Today, as the symbols of Saddam fall, ABC News is there, first to report with U.S. Marines on this historic day. But what comes next? And is Saddam dead or alive? Tonight, turn to Peter Jennings and an ABC News special at 10/9 Central.
First, fast, accurate. News 2 at 6 starts now.
I got goosebumps. I mean, I felt a real sense of proudness for the people over there fighting for us.
Middle Tennesseans react to the dramatic scene of U.S. ground troops entering the city of Baghdad. But despite the apparent end of Saddam Hussein's regime, the fighting continues in the war with Iraq. Good evening, everyone. With the fall of Baghdad, the top priorities for American forces in Iraq are now recovering prisoners of war, securing oil fields, and finding illegal weapons.
And another priority, the capturing or